welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I wanted to plant my seedlings and I had the idea that I would record myself while I did it because I've been thinking a lot lately about, oh, we have a visitor. Okay, we'll try that again. Can't promise there won't be any dog visitors in the middle of my video. Um, So I've been thinking a lot about money energetics lately. I had an astrology reading earlier in the week, and we looked at my Vedic chart, and a lot of what people want to hear from me is the taboo. We got a cat now. Oh my goodness. This is what my life is like. My pets are attached to my hip. Real and raw, okay? But I'm meant to share a lot about the taboo things, money energetics, transformation, intimacy. And these are all topics that I have explored deeply in my life. I have been on my spiritual journey for about 10 years, and a lot of the things I've learned and been initiated through have been challenges with those exact topics. So I want to share a little bit about my philosophies, I suppose, on money and abundance and essentially being in flow with your soul and your higher self and the universe. And when I was thinking about planting my seedlings, I was like, this is the perfect metaphor, the perfect mirror for living in alignment with your purpose and also trusting the flow. Because when I first started gardening, so throughout the years I was in apartments and I would have, little pots, little seedlings, little bits of garden, directly reflecting my energetic state in my business. My business hadn't fully flourished. I was a personal trainer transitioning into more of my spiritual self. And I was kind of just getting started, little bits here and there. Money was really coming in waves. It would come and then it would go, and it would come and then it would go, and then it would come and then it would go. And then when I first moved out to the country, the first year I was here, I didn't attempt to have a garden at all. But then last year, I tried to have a really big garden. I got all these seeds, every different kind of vegetable you can possibly think about. I also got all these flowers, which, as you can see, I still have this year. So I didn't even end up planting them at all last year. But I tried to take on too much. And also, I was really excited about having a garden. So I planted like 100 seedlings indoors. And what happened was I planted all the seedlings really early because I was really excited. And then it came time to put them in the ground and none of them actually flourished. I had like a couple misshapen cucumbers, a handful of beans, maybe a couple tomatoes out of all that I had invested in my garden and in my seedling journey and time and all of this. And I feel like this really reflects trying to force God's plan, trying to force your vision, trying to force what's coming to you anyways, but doing it in a way that isn't really in alignment. It's because you want it and you think you're supposed to have it and you try really hard to make it happen. And I have a program now, a 13-week program, which guides women through their chakras and through releasing their conditioning, releasing their trauma, to be able to be in alignment with their soul. And I first created this program in 2024. And I hired a marketing coach that wasn't really in alignment with me, but that was promising me all these really big things. And, my body sort of knew it wasn't in alignment, but he promised so much. And I was like, okay, I just need to do it. And it wasn't the time. I created the program, but then I had to go through an initiation for the next 9 months as I was creating it, working through and actually embodying and applying all of the things that I had learned throughout the last 10 years. And now, fast forward to 2026, and my program is taking off. And it only really started taking off when I released attachment to the outcome and when I surrendered to what was showing up for me. And I let my body and I let myself go through the necessary rest and the necessary recalibration to be able to actually hold this program and the success of this program that it has now. Also, in the past, one time, I've always had these big visions for my life. I've always known that I was destined for wealth, destined for abundance, destined for love. And I have tried to force these things into existence. I wrote a book all about the chakras. I wrote this book before I had discovered womb healing at all. And I lost my train of thought. It's kind of hard to do two things at once. I'll get better at it. But yeah, and I forced it through, and I actually paid $15,000 to have a publisher. Once again, big promises. Oh yeah, this book's gonna take off. Oh yeah, all this stuff is gonna happen. Did any of that happen? No. I sold like 80 copies of the book and did not make back my investment at all. And you know what? I'm sure the people who read the book really benefited from it, and it wasn't a waste of time. It was helping me to get clearer on where I am now and on the offer that I have now. And the same with relationships. I had an ex-boyfriend that I really desperately wanted to be the one. And so I was like trying to make it happen. I was trying to force this relationship to be what I wanted it to be, what I thought it should be, the house, the white picket fence, the dog, the family, all of this stuff. And only when I learned how to come into alignment with my soul and how to stop trying to rush things and let things happen the way that my higher self and my soul planned, only then was I actually able to receive those things. And yeah, it wasn't exactly in the way that my ego wanted. Did my ego want to spend the last 2 years in burnout, in exhaustion, in emotional processing, in extreme money distress? No. But because of those things, I learned that I always have everything I need. Even when I was at my lowest of lows with my money situation, I always had what I needed. I always had a roof over my head. I always had food in my fridge. I had people or resources that I could reach out to if I needed a little extra money. I could call the bank. I could rearrange payment schedules. It was all within my control to make sure that everything was going okay. And this also really taught me the difference between trusting God and trusting yourself, because I think for a while I was confused about, okay, where do I just like throw it all up to the universe and be like, okay, God, handle it, and just like do nothing? And where do I have to apply myself and take aligned action to make sure that I am safe and that I'm taken care of? And so through this process, my masculine energy really developed, because I learned that whenever I say he, I'm referring to my masculine energy. He really wants to take care of my feminine, and he gets really excited and overzealous a little bit sometimes. But my feminine is my leader, and so I had to learn the signals I was receiving from my body. I had to listen to my body. I had to rest when she wanted me to rest. And, when I had energy, put in the work. And I also had to take action to make sure that I was safe and to make sure everything was taken care of. And then when I'd taken all the action that I could, then I would surrender to the universe, all the aligned action that I could, I should say. Then I would surrender to the universe, and I would see what God had in store for me. So how does this relate to a garden? Well, this year, instead of trying to plant 100 seedlings and trying to have the biggest, most beautiful, most bestest garden that I know is possible for me and that I know is coming in the future, Instead, I'm starting smaller. So instead of sitting here and planting 100 seedlings, I did some research. I learned that tomatoes are best to start indoors. So I'm going to be planting some tomatoes today. And I learned, what I needed to have in my garden when I needed to plant things. And there is a part of me that is like, well, I really want to plant all my plants inside today. I wanted to make it an activity. I want to, have my cucumbers and have my beans and have things growing. And, I want that. But what the research is telling me is that that's not what's actually going to yield the most successful garden. I have to wait till the right time to plant my seedlings if I really want them to flourish. And I think that is a great metaphor and a great reflection about building the life of your dreams. Because not all of us want the same things. So like I could say, yeah, a perfect metaphor for you to have abundance. But for me, it's having a successful business. It's having a business that's in alignment with my feminine energy. One day I would like to be a mom, I would like to have a family, and I don't want to have all of my energy going into my business, but I still want to make money, and I still want to be successful, and I still want to have an impact. And I know I still have a purpose to fulfill, a spiritual purpose to fulfill. And so I need to find the best way to be able to hold all of that while having space for my joy, my pleasure, my creativity, my family, fun activities, things outside of work. And so over the last 2 years, I recognized that's what I want. I'm going to do what it takes to get it. And I know that I don't want to be hustling. I don't want to be pushing. I don't want to be forcing. So even though the money wasn't necessarily flowing, I wasn't trying to force the money to flow because I wanted to create a life that was sustainable, that was in alignment with my feminine energy. So even when I had no money, I was resting when my body said rest. I wasn't forcing myself to create when my body didn't want to, because I was like, is this what I want in the future? No, I'm creating what I want in the future now with the tools that I have available to me. So another thing with this garden is that, if we take garden and we take, for me, business, but for you, it might be family, it might be travel, it might be life experience, it might be love, whatever it is. And for a lot of us who are intuitive, we can see those visions, right? And we're like, how do we speed it up to get that vision here faster? But it's not about speed. It's about building a foundation that will actually support you to hold all of those things that you've asked for. So this year, I'm having a bit of a smaller garden. I'm following the grow schedule. I am planting things when they're meant to be planted so that they will yield the highest results, even though I want to be planting everything right now. I am not. I'm planting what I know needs to be planted right now. And then I'm going to put them in the soil when the time is right. And then I'm going to water them. I'm going to nurture them. I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to make sure my soil is tilled. I'm going to make sure that I have things planted in a way where they're all going to be able to be supported the best. And I'm going to let them grow. And with that being said, even the plant growing itself is a beautiful metaphor, because if you think about it, we have brandywine red tomatoes. If you think about it, you put the seed in the soil, and it's in the dark, right? Now, one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the seed in my mouth, because I've read that when the seed interacts with your saliva, it automatically learns about you, and it learns what you need, and then it actually grows the plant to be able to support you in a way which is for the highest good. And so I'm putting my saliva on the plant so that I can grow plants that are supported by my DNA. But you put it in the soil, right, in the dark, and it naturally knows to grow towards the light. It knows how to do that. You don't tell it how to do that. It doesn't think its way into how to do that. It says, I'm a plant and I'm gonna grow towards the light because that is what I do, because that is what I know I'm supposed to do. And think about that like you, right? If you were a plant, your soul is the light. So your soul is naturally wanting to grow towards the light. It's naturally wanting to embody more light. And so when you stop trying to force it and stop trying to think with your ego like, oh, I know what's best, then you naturally will go towards the light. And so if you think about a plant, it is a piece of Mother Earth. So is your body. Your body is also a piece of Mother Earth. Okay, I think enough of those for now. Now we're gonna do some sweetie tomatoes. Some little guys, nice. Your body naturally is a part of the earth. So your body holds the keys and the wisdom to you growing towards the light. And the light is your purpose, is your soul, is what you came here to do. And one thing that you will find over the journey is that all of the things that you really want is also what your soul wants. So sometimes it can be a little confusing at the beginning because you think you want certain things. Your ego might want certain things, or conditioning might tell you that you should have certain things. But what your soul actually wants is much different. And because of our conditioning, and because of the environments where we grow into, and because of the world that we live in, we don't always know what it is that we really want or what our soul really wants. And so we have to learn how to release this conditioning and this trauma and, these parts of us that aren't true to ourselves from our actual body, right? Because our body holds all of that. From our actual body, we have to learn how to release these things. And then once we do that, we easily find that we can grow towards the light. Once we come into alignment with our intuition and with our body, we stop trying to force things because we know what feels right. We know what doesn't feel right. It's quite easy. And we naturally grow towards the light and we naturally stop trying to rush things, right? Like I could take a tomato and put it outside right now in the cold, in the winter, because I want a tomato, and it would freeze and die and it wouldn't grow. But because I'm waiting till the time is right to plant this tomato, it's going to grow and it's going to flourish. We hope. No guarantees. It could be another learning year. Like, I don't fully know what's going to happen this year, but I know that I'm taking the necessary steps with what I know, right? It's applying what you know. It's not also, like, oh, well, I want this to be a thing, or what am I trying to say here? When you know better, you have to do better. That's another thing, right? So like, if you want something in your life and you're shown somehow that the place you're currently at, or the thing you're currently working through, or the belief system that you currently have isn't serving that, then it's your job to make a change. Because otherwise, you're not applying what you've learned, right? Like once you know better, you do better. That's one of my values. You get to come up with your own set of values on the journey that support you. So we hope that these tomatoes will grow into beautiful, luscious, abundant plants. And if not, we will try again next year with what we learned this year to eventually, one day, have this big, beautiful garden of my dreams. And that is the same with business. And that is the same with family, with love, right? We go, we explore, we learn, we're initiated into things. There's always a period of initiation. when you ask for big things, there's always a period where you're going to have challenges, you're going to have things come up because it's helping you get more clear in what you really want. And then we realign, we recenter, we are connected a little more deeply to our body, and we take the next step forward. And we really can't rush the process. We can't grow the seed in the ground to the tree in 1 year. We can try. We can get some grow plants and we can, put some fertilizer in and we can do all these things and we can try to do that, but is it sustainable? Debatable. There is something to be said about supporting and nurturing yourself with what you need to be able to be successful, right? Taking care of your body, putting good things in your body, right? Sunlight, soil. Really, we're not much different than a plant. We need to put our feet on the ground. We need sunlight. We need water. And that is what's going to make the garden grow, your dreams grow. So this to me is what being in flow is. It's knowing that everything that you want is coming to you and just enjoying the process, learning as you go, not trying to rush things or force things, because your soul is like a plant and it knows the way and it's always moving towards the light. And when you learn something and you know better, you do better. And when something is no longer serving you, you let it go. And you just continuously reorient yourself to be able to have those things that you really dream of. Because your soul has a plan for you. Just like this tomato has a plan for it. It's going to grow into a tomato and it's going to have tomatoes. Now, I wouldn't plant a tomato and expect it to grow a carrot. So you might be a carrot, you might be a tomato, you might be a cucumber, you might be dill. You're going to grow into what you're meant to grow into when you follow the simple steps and when you stop trying to rush it. And the last thing is that I'm going to add Reiki to these tomato plants. I'm going to call in God. I'm going to call in my higher self. I'm going to call in my guides. And I'm going to ask for them to grow in a way which is for the highest good. Because I also firmly believe that we have unlimited support from the higher realms, but that this support can't help us unless we ask it. So I am going to be asking for the support. I'm going to call in the tomato spirit. I'm going to call in the tomato plant. I'm going to ask for these tomatoes to grow into whatever they're meant to grow into, that in a way which is going to nourish me. Hopefully I get to make some salsa. I really want to learn how to can. The first step of canning is actually having the plant. I really want to have my own vegetables. I want to be sustainable. I want to learn about this. I want this to be something I do for life. And so I'm gonna do what it takes. And I'm gonna, when it doesn't succeed, I'm gonna try again. And I'm gonna keep my eye on that goal of that big, beautiful garden one day, but I'm not gonna try and have a big, beautiful garden this year because that didn't go so well last year. I'm gonna have a beautiful garden. That's the intention, but it's gonna be smaller. So yeah, lots of beautiful metaphors, lots of beautiful mirrors when it comes to gardening and creating your dream life and living in flow and living in abundance and understanding your soul and following your soul's path. Because really we are a piece of the earth, just like this tomato is a piece of the earth. Our body is a piece of the earth. Our body has a spirit. The tomato has a spirit. It's very similar. Yeah, I love that. And as I plant these tomatoes, I'm planting my intentions at the same time. I am making not big moves. I'm making moves in my business, but I'm building and I'm aware that it takes steps and it takes time. I have these dreams for what I want my business to look like, and I have steps that I know I need to take. But if I try to do all those steps tomorrow, I'm going to get overwhelmed. I'm going to get frustrated, I'm gonna blast my nervous system, and it's gonna just burn out and not work and not fail. You know, it's gonna be like the big cucumber that grows so huge in the pot, but then becomes root bound or pot bound or whatever it's called, where it gets used to the pot and then it doesn't expand further outside of the pot. So I'm building in a way that is aligned, that feels good, following my intuition, following my body, following the steps I need to take, and the universe that like is just reorienting itself around me. It's bringing me people who are supportive, who are going to help me. It's bringing me clients who really need my work, who really, you know, would benefit from what I have to offer. It's bringing me experiences that are opening my eyes to new things, to new parts of myself. And yeah, I'm just in flow and I'm in abundance. I have everything I need. But at the same time, I know I have a bigger dream for my life. I want more, of course. But when I look around, I have a microcosm of all of the things that I want right now. And so I'm extremely grateful for the life I have right now. I live in this big, beautiful house in the country. I have so many trees in my yard. I have pets that I love very much. I've worked very hard to heal my relationship with my family, so I get along great with all of my family. I have a super healthy body. I take really good care of my body. I prioritize going to the gym, eating healthy, getting enough sleep. I have the space for that. I have the time for that. I work with my yoni gem. I'm in pleasure. I have time for creativity. I started sewing again. I have friends around here and I have internet friends. I have a social group that I really resonate, and it is actually growing and building as well. And I also am very clear about the type of man I want in the future, and I see examples of that man in lots of men I meet, so I know I'm in alignment with that man. And I don't know exactly when that's going to come together, but at the same time, I'm not trying to rush or force it. And I have money in my bank account and I have all my needs met. And yes, I have maybe, you know, some bills that still need to be paid, but they're not urgent. Tax bill. And I know I have the money coming in that's going to support me in paying that. So it's like we're constantly in this flow on this journey of life. And as we're letting go, we're also calling in, and there's no final point, right? We're always just becoming more and more and moving more and more towards that light, and the light which is our soul and spirit. So, yeah, that's my little thought today. I am now going to put these babies in the sun. Well, first I'm going to give them some Reiki. Then I'm going to put them in the sun. And then I'm going to go to town and get some snacks. And I'm going to watch Fern Gully. And I'm going to do some cleaning. Wash my floors, do my curtains, maybe paint, maybe have a bath. We're not sure yet. The day is our oyster today. We're just going to follow the flow and see what happens. And yeah. So I hope you all have an amazing day. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments. If you have anything you'd like me to speak on, let me know about that as well. Please, you know, like, follow, subscribe, all the things. And if you are interested in working with me, send me a message, reach out. I would love to work with you. I love to work with my soul people. And so if you feel like you are one of those, hit me up, send me a message, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.